Eagerly. So without further ado, to all you cat lovers out there, ha 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 ha, stand by, open up your eyes, peel it open and open it really wide. Don't take an afternoon nap because it's not time for a cat nap. It's time for info on cats. And what is this all about? Let's take a look at a video from our Cat Welfare Society.
CWS engages the community as we work to achieve a sustainable and humane management in Singapore. So we do so by going through mediation, sterilization, advocacy and educational programs. The cats need a transition place to let them have their modification of behavior training, and such as litter box training, how to interact with humans, and even to interact with other cats. Because when they know how to socialize with other cats, the chances of them getting adopted is higher. The foster place provides them a place to recover before they can go into a good home. Today we have Brittany here with us. She has fostered about 10 kittens back in her home country, and even coming to Singapore, she is bringing her passion here to help the stray animals by fostering the kittens.
My name is Brittany and I'm a fosterer. I'm fostering Emilio and another kitten, Raja. I'm working through an independent rescuer who rescues cats and kittens off the streets. Some of them are injured, some of them have been abandoned, and she partners with Cat Welfare Society. This is Raja. She is about 3 months old. She and her brother were rescued from an industrial estate where mom and kittens were dropped. So she had 3 siblings and I'm fostering just the 2 of them. She was the braver one when she first came in, a little bit more curious to explore and to get to know people. And she loves to run around the house playing with her brother. If she gets lonely, she cries and he comes running to her, and whenever anybody leaves the room, she cries after them because she's really attached to humans now. This is Emilio. He is Raja's brother and was also at the industrial estate. When he first came, he was so scared of us, and he would hiss and he would get really nervous whenever we would approach him. And now he's a really big baby. He loves to be held like a baby, and he likes to be carried around the house. If he doesn't get enough attention, he'll come and start meowing at us to pick him up. So he's really sweet and warms up quickly, and he likes to learn new tricks, so he can sit and he can shake. And Raj has just only learned to sit recently with her treats.
There from the cat, a lovely message there from the Cat Welfare Society. So folks, right now on this episode, things are just going to be slightly different. We're going to bring real human beings into the program to interact with me rather than animals alone. So on this segment of our program from CWS, I've got our 2 very special guests, and right here next to me on my left, I've got the president of CWS, Tanuga, and one of our cat fosterer right there. And I thought Sandra Bullock was sitting next to me and right in front of me. This is so gorgeous, right? Tanya right there. So, Tanuga, I'm going to start out with you. Oh, look at that. Look, doesn't she look like an Egyptian goddess? You tell me, doesn't she look like one? Huh? And look at the cat like, Tanuga, who is this lovely chap right there? Is it a boy or a girl? It looks like a small kitten.
This is a small female kitten, you're right. She's about 3 months old. Her name is Monchi. She is a rescue from, actually the location is uncertain. She was actually bailed out, and she has been in foster care for a couple of months. And you can see that she is just slightly nervous about all the attention, not used to it yet, but I'm sure she'll grow to love the limelight shortly. She is looking for a permanent home and with a loving family.
You all heard that, right? Look at that. really, you can tell from here. I mean, for home viewers out there, you can't see this, but I'm really telling you what Tanuga has just mentioned, and I'm just echoing her. You can see that she's really like like curled up, like a fetal position. She's like starting to shiver a bit, not because the aircon is cold, but you know, I can sense that there's tension in her. She's really stressed. But the way you're handling her, giving her the little back rub right there, it's like soothing her down so much. So what is the secret of looking after a cat or a stray?
Well, those are two different questions. So in terms of looking after a community cat, there is obviously having a responsible feeding schedule. You would also need to ensure that they obtain medical care as and when they require. In terms of pet cats, the main requirement really is about your suitability as an adopter. So for instance, you'd have to be willing to mesh up your house. If you'd seen a little earlier, one of the cats in the enclosure actually climbed all the way up the netting because sometimes they think that they're monkeys and do this kind of stuff. But in order to prevent any high-rise falling or for them to dash out of the house and endanger themselves, we always say that one of the best practices is to mesh up the house and ensure that the cats cannot fit through the width of the grill and endanger themselves. A second aspect of adoption is to ensure that you have the financial means to provide good quality food, to prevent any diseases down the road, to ensure that you have the ability to provide regular vet care, because much like human beings, they also require regular vet attention to make sure all their blood tests are correct and stuff like that.
And most of you would have been noticing now that Tanuga and I are just like leaning over and just taking a look at things, and Tanya's going like, oh. Now I know why there's this term called the cat burglar, because one of these little fellas in there, one of our champions in there, was trying to break out of the cage, like trying to find, hey zipper. Let's break out and have fun. So who's that main star right there who was trying to have a jailbreak?
Your cat burglar is actually a cat called Lady X. She's about 8 months old, because this is a very good name for a cat burglar, by the way. She's about 8 months old. She was rescued from an industrial area and has been in foster care for approximately 6 months. So she's also looking for a home. And you can see she's, of the cats inside, she's actually quite alert. She's the most confident. So she's a rare cat that adapts very quickly. Most of the time, you will see them have the nerves, like Monchi over here, and then slowly come into a more comfortable zone.
I can see that Lady X is just waiting for something to happen. She's like an MI6 agent, like, doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Give me a little wire and hang me down and I'll break all those codes. Now, we spoke about adoption and what a real fosterer should be and how a fosterer should be treating all these stray cats. So I'm going to switch your attention over to Tanya right now. And I'm going to ask you, like, what made you want to become a fosterer to cats? Was it your love for cats, or was it because you had something inside you that said, I got to do something for the Cats Welfare Society or Cat Welfare Society so that these cats can have a nice home?
Yeah, I thought it's a good cause, and why not helping those little cats from the streets? I've also just seen so many of them in the streets, like hanging around, and I thought it was pretty sad. So I thought that if I can help one, then why not?
So you have one cat.
I do
under your
have one,
charge.
yes.
And what's the cat's name?
Fiji.
This program is getting way out of it. I feel like we're on a travel program right now than anything else, like Fiji. Do you want Mauritius? Hey, I've got even Thailand if you want to. So, how old is Fiji?
Fiji is 2 years old.
2 years old.
Yeah.
Is Fiji here today?
Yeah, he's chilling
that-
around. He's
look at
getting
that.
pretty annoyed.
Look at that. When we mentioned Fiji, straight went up and then came down like, I want to get out of this place. I used to have a big home and now I got to be kept in a cage. What's wrong with you people? What was the first reaction when you had Fiji? How was Fiji as a stray when
Very
you first
easy.
brought him?
Very, very easy boy. He's not
Good.
scared at all, which is pretty surprising. So it just went all around my place, and then just chill on the couch, and that's it.
So it was like,
New home.
just home. I'm
Yeah.
home. I'm home, and that kind of thing. Well, that's cool. Now, speaking from a adopter's point of view, what would what should potential adopters out there who are watching this program now look out for and know about cats that are up for adoption from Cat Welfare Society? Anybody?
Okay, so the first thing to note is that Cat Welfare Society doesn't run a shelter, and we don't do rescue. So all of these cats are independently rescued and kept with fosters or in boarding. So it's a personal network. So the best person to learn about the cat's personality from is actually the foster. So for example, when Tanya and I were having a chat earlier, we know that Fiji is quite accustomed to being a solo cat in his house. He is very confident with people, no aggression toward people. He's actually pretty chilled out with the cats in here, so that's quite impressive as well. But he's also very calm, and being 2 years old, he's not a super hyper jumpy kitten the way Monchi would be in natural circumstances. And he's looking for a calmer home in that sense. So you have to understand what the cat's personality is and what your family personality is and try to find a correct match there.
So, how else are these cats different once they are out? And you know, I don't know what else to call it but strays. You know, strays without a home, hunting and scavenging for food. And then you get, you know, Singaporeans who are kind-hearted like yourself, Tanya, who will help to feed these cats, but then they don't bother to clean up, which is why other Singaporeans will go, it's a bloody mess, disgusting cats, And I, for one, would love cats, but because of the fact that they sleep on my car every day, which is one question I want to ask you, Thenuka, why do cats have this bad habit?
Okay, so let me start by telling you that you can call stray cats community cats as well.
Community cats,
because
okay.
they belong in our
CC.
community. Yes.
CC.
Okay, so the reason that cats usually seek out cars to sleep on or under is because of warmth. So we have fairly cool nights sometimes, you know, when we're lucky. And for that reason, the cats will usually seek out the bonnet of the car where the engine is, and they will lie there. But actually, the cat's claws are not different from our nails. They're not actually hard enough to scratch a car. They might go through your wax layer a little bit, but it's a cat. It's very poor thing, right? It's outside. So we should be okay with this. Just keep your car covered if you are very concerned about it.
That's what Thenuka doesn't know, but the cat doesn't sleep on my bonnet, it sleeps on my roof.
Okay. I don't have an explanation. Maybe your car very hot.
Maybe the owner is hot too. I'm just
Okay,
joking. I'm
okay.
just joking. But you know what? Tell us more about all these cats that you have, all these community cats that you have back at CWS.
Okay, so it's not back at CWS. With the various fosters, you have Fidget, for example, who was he was abandoned. It's quite likely that he may have been abandoned because he outgrew his the cute kitten phase, as they call it. And it's unfortunate because, you know, he wouldn't have any adaptability skills to the outside, right? With the elements. You see Monchi, and way back there is Percy. So these two were rescued as kittens. It's not clear if they were abandoned by their mums or what the actual circumstances of their rescue were. But in any case, in foster care, they have blossomed, and they would be great to go as a pair. Now, Lady X over there, who's really the calmest person here today, she's just chilled out, right? And she's from an air base in the northwest of Singapore. And she's turned out to have a beautiful personality, very good with people. So in general, I would say that one thing to note as a first-time cat adopter, going back to that, is if you're looking at a kitten, I would always recommend a pair. Because what they do is they peer socialize. They play with one another, and you'll see it, you know, when they're very active and hyper and running around, the human beings cannot keep up. We're not cats. We're not able to adapt to this level of energy.
True.
So they will play with one another, and that's the best indoor stimulation you can give to the kittens. When they're slightly older, like Fidget, he's pretty chilled out with watching TV, sitting down, and, you know, the Netflix lah. Not Netflix and chill, but like just Netflix and hang out, right? So they are like just calmer post-sterilization. So you're looking at cat whose personality you fully know when you're talking about a kitten who's 6 months and above. With the young ones, they can still develop and change a little bit more. So maybe what you see is maybe not what you get in like a few months' time.
Oh, so that's how fast they would change and adapt.
Yes, because at the 6-month mark, as a general rule, all cats should be sterilized. And with the sterilization, all their raging hormones will settle, and then you'll start seeing the calmer aspects of a cat. Play is still necessary, that stimulation is still necessary, but you will see maybe like a greater proportion of hanging out, greater proportion of just sitting down and observing versus jumping around and off the walls.
I see. That's interesting. But when you brought up the point about, you know, I noticed Tanya's reaction was like, yeah, that's like totally true. So you want to share a bit of an experience on that one?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty happy that Fiji is already 2 years old, so he's playing a little bit, but only at certain times during the day, and after that, he's just like sleeping. So it's very, very easy. Yeah, it's just chilling around.
So you see, parents out there, this is why the government tells you to have 2 kids at least, not like me, only 1 child will be like, lonely, I am so lonely. Yeah, I do watch Netflix and chill too, but how much of that can we do, right? So if you are interested in adopting a cat, you guys know where to go to, and of course, as I mentioned earlier at the start of the program, it's due to the high demand that you guys wanted, and which is why we brought them back, and which is why we have Tanuga with us and also Tanya with us on the program today to tell you more about all these lovely community cats that you can give a beautiful home to. Now, Tanuga, I'm just going to come into you and straight up ask you a final question. How else can people out there, if they don't have a place anymore for adopting a cat or giving a home to these community cats, how else can they help you in CWS?
Okay, so I think the primary way to assist us is we run the sterilization program on the ground, and we do almost 5,000 sterilizations a year. So the best way for them to contribute would be monetary assistance so that we can continue to run the program. Now, sterilization is important because it's the first population control method, and it's humane instead of any other means for like culling, for instance. So with sterilization, you can ensure that the population is maintained, and then you can start focusing on the more vulnerable cat members of the community, like kittens or recent abandoned cats, which are just unable to adapt and thrive in the outdoors. So then they can be taken in by independent rescuers and fosters who would also need assistance in terms of finance or resources for their medical cases, for example, and then go into a foster network. From the foster network, try to find a permanent home. So word of mouth is very important. As a cat owner, you could also share your experiences with other people and see whether you can help address any concerns they have about owning cats. And that way we can slowly increase and build up an adoption knowledge base in that sense. And everybody can benefit from having an animal at home in an informed way. It should not be a split decision.
Which is now why I'm going to switch the question around, and Tanya, you are like a foster mom to Fiji.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to give a little shout out to the home viewers out there. A ballpark figure averagely on a month to feed a nice cute cat like Fiji.
Oh, wow.
So that we can be prepared. If people want to come into CWS and adopt one and give a nice home to all these lovely community cats, how much should they be comfortable with?
With a cat?
Yeah.
It really depends. I don't think you need to be that comfortable. You can just be open to give it a try and see what happens. I think that would be the best way. Just give it a try and see if you can help just these little boys.
But roughly
girls.
how much? Singaporeans, we're like that. We're very practical. Like, how much?
Financial outlay.
How
Yeah,
much?
I don't know.
Maybe I can chime in here.
Yeah,
I think there's various aspects. So let's say your primary components are food, litter, and medical care, right? So food, there's a variety of diets. You can go, raw, grain-free, and purely wet food, for example. So maybe you can put aside, let's say, $50 to $80 a month for food. Litter is not that expensive. With one cat, you probably only need about $10 or $20 worth of litter on a monthly basis. So now we're at about 100. In the first year of a cat's life, they will require maybe 2 or 3 vaccinations. They'll require sterilization. So in that first year, your outlay could be maybe, say, $300, $400 for all of the medical care. But after that, on a yearly basis, you only need an annual booster vaccination. So that's probably a maximum of about $50. So it varies by the year. With cats, from about the 8-year mark or so, they're considered senior cats, and it's recommended that they run annual blood checks, for example, just to see if any of the markers are a bit off and have preventive care. So, see, financially, you have to be very long-term thinking. You have to think as well, in 20 years, in 10 years, what am I going to be doing? Am I financially able to support a cat or 2 or more? So these are questions that you should always ask yourself at the onset. So monthly, let's say about $100 to $150, and then on a yearly for the medical.
I'm going to switch to rearing a cat rather than having 2 kids in the house because it's way much more economical and they can look after themselves. Boys, Daddy ain't coming home no more, and you're not going to be seeing no home no more. Now, we've come to this part of the segment. We want to say a big thank you to Tanya and also Tanuga from CWS for joining us on this program. Thank you, lovely ladies, for the insight onto all these beautiful little creatures. And look at that, look at her, look at her, look at Monty. She's going like, I want to sleep, don't disturb me. So, while the cats take a cat nap, ladies and gentlemen, no puns intended, no puns intended, we'd like to say a very big thank you to TNT. I like that, man, it's dynamic in here. Tanuga and Tanya for joining us on this program. Thank you, ladies, so much. Thank you. And remember, we need your support, so all you need to do is visit CWS. We've got lovely merchandises from them. Yes, condominium available for sale. No need TOP, no need anything, no need what form, what nonsense, or no need bank loan. Can afford and let your cat play, okay? Plus, of course, not forgetting lovely merchandises over there. So show your support by helping us out. If you don't want to adopt, you can also provide financial support.